Hey guys, and welcome to another streaming video. Today's video is going to be top 8 new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe power-ups. I really enjoy new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe at the moment, and some of these power-ups really help me in some difficult situations, and this is how I'm going to rank all 8 of the power-ups. I'm not going to include the Acorn, as that one is just too overpowered and I really don't like it because it ruins the game. Super Mushroom I will not include because it's just basically doesn't really do anything apart from add a hit point, so that's not really enough for me to actually count it in the list. Other than that, all power-ups will be included, and yeah, let's get right into it. And number 8 on the list is the Mini Mushroom. Now for some reason, there are actually a few people out there that genuinely enjoy playing as Mini Mario. If you're one of those people, well, I feel sorry for you. I really just can't consider this as a power-up. You can go from having 3 hit points, then after collecting this power up, it takes you down to 1. So it just makes surviving some of the harder levels much more challenging, which really shouldn't be the case of something that is supposed to aid you on your journey. On the plus side, your jumps do get floaty, which can be quite fun and interesting, but for most of the time it isn't really needed. You can also run on water, which is normally effective for about 1 level per 2D Mario game. Overall, yeah, the really floaty jumps may appeal to some, but for a floaty jump, you are risking a lot more vital and necessary things. I think it's quite clear that they just added this power-up to add some variety to the gameplay, and so that they could add easy ways of finding secret exits and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it deserves this worst spot on the list. And number 7 on the list is the Ice Flower. Okay, now after the Mini Mushrooms, things aren't quite as obvious and, well, trash. The Ice Flower for me is really effective and necessary. Yes, it can be used to kill some normally unkillable enemies like dry bones and stuff like that, but even with that, enemies in this game are often just easily avoidable by either jumping over or just swimming around, and it isn't needed to kill these enemies, as you can complete the level without doing so. Now this power up isn't necessarily bad. You can still kill standard enemies like Goombas, Tubers, etc. So they can actually be useful in lots of situations. There's one major issue I have with this flower though. With the Fire Flower, the fireball bounces continuously, but with this one, it bounces once, then just disappears, which is very frustrating and really changes my opinion on this power up, as it means you have to be reasonably close to an enemy, which is really annoying in my opinion. Just completely ruins it. So yeah, this power-up is definitely a step up from the Mini Mush, but isn't as effective as some of the upcoming power-ups. And number 6 on the list is the Penguin Suit. Okay, now I really don't want this to be here, just to the absolute adorableness of the characters when this is active, but unfortunately, I do feel it deserves it. This is basically the Ice Flower 2.0, and honestly, I don't know why both items still exist, considering both power-ups give you access to throwing ice balls at enemies. But with this suit, you can now slide down slopes and take out any poor creatures that get in your way, which is honestly pretty awesome. So I don't see why they haven't just completely discarded that power-up, as I'm pretty sure nobody would take it over one of these little Peggy suits. Like, if you do, you're just wrong. It's just so much fun sliding around, and you're pretty much invincible for the most part, and very few enemies can actually harm you while you're sliding. As much as this sounds great, it obviously still has the negatives from the Ice Flower, and how I'm not a fan of the ice throw mechanic in this game, but it's definitely an improvement from the previous entry on the list. And number 5 is the Fire Flower, the classic. It's been here since day 1, only that the Super Mushroom and the Star are part of that elite group of real OG items. Now surely due to the fact that it's managed to stay, prove that we were all big fans, and well, you're not wrong. It's a really big help in our journey, as you can take out pretty much any enemy that you come across, and not only that, but it's really easy to use, and if you're new to the game, it's definitely one of the first you will fall in love with. Not because it's the best, but just due to how easy it is to keep it. Well, as long as you're smart with it. Now the only reason it's this low is just due to the fact that all the upcoming entries are just kinda overpowered in my opinion. So despite how great the Fire Flower is, it's stuck at number 5. Number 4 is the Superstar. probably one of the most iconic power-ups in Mario history. What happens is that you become invincible. You become much quicker, and your jumps not only take you further, but look insane, as Mario does a couple front flips per jump, which looks really cool. Although, this is only for a certain amount of time, normally about 10 seconds, which does make sense, because if it wasn't timed, then the game would literally just be pointless. So, that is fair enough. I think that this power-up is much more effective for the easier and earlier levels in the game, as you can find yourself surprisingly far into the level before that 10-second timer ends. But as well as that, you can find it useful in some of the more challenging levels, although its rarity does make it quite hard to take advantage of, as there's very few locations where a star is actually within the item boxes. So you're most likely going to acquire these items before the level has begun, so you're only going to use it for the beginning of the levels. Overall, this power-up can be really effective, just depending on how and when you use it. And number 3 is the Acorn Suit, one of the brand new power-ups to New Super Mario Bros. U, and unsurprisingly, it's based on an animal. Like, seriously Nintendo, what is that about? Anyway, this item is great, and really fun to use. It reminds me a lot of the cape power-up from Super Mario World, but I feel like this Acorn Suit is much easier to control, as you can just glide along extremely easily. This is effective because it allows you to ensure you can land on safe ground. Another ability you have when using this suit is a double jump. When gliding across, you can shake your controller to jump again, which can really help you, and a lot of the time save you from certain death. Unlike how they made it so for some of the secret exits in this game, you must have this suit and glide across to some faraway platform. It really makes it seem much more special and actually secret, due to the fact that there's actually certain things you need to do in order to actually find it, which is not the case with some games. Every 2D game in existence. But I'm honestly really glad that this was introduced, and I really hope that they keep this for the future. And number 2 is the Super Crown. Now, the only new power-up that was introduced in this deluxe port was the Super Crown. Now, let me start off by saying it was the main reason Bowser came into existence, so that's already a mega reason why it deserves to be this high up. This has to be one of the most out there and strange ideas ever. Like so, Toadette, who is a completely different species to the princesses, but if she touches this crown thing, then she changes to Peach. Like, I've got to applaud them for experimenting. The gliding mechanic with this power up is very similar to that of the Acorn Suit, but I think it is a bit slow in the air, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It allows you to control where you go much more comfortably. To be honest though, there's a really small difference between the two power-ups, but there are a few minor differences that make me prefer Peach Air. One of them is the fact that after you do your double jump, you float the same way that you did previously, but with the Acorn Suit, you can't glide after using your double jump. I know it doesn't sound like much, but for me, it makes quite a big difference. Overall, I can see why people may possibly prefer the Acorn over this, but these minor differences just about do it for me. At number 1 is the Helicopter Suit. And number 1 has to be the helicopter outfit. The power-up that was introduced in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and was by far the most effective one within that game. It's just so effective in literally any situation possible. If you play this right, you can literally touch the ground around 5 or 6 times before reaching the flagpole. Like, you could just fly high over all those pesky little enemies below and just give them the middle finger as you soar over them. It's also great to use for recovery, as if you are inches away from death due to the insane height that you go per use, you can easily get back up and carry on with the level. Overall, I think this power up is actually incredible, and it's definitely worth being known as the best New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe power up. And that is the end of today's video. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, then please leave a like. Let me know in the comment sections below if you agree or disagree with my choices. Check out my Twitter, Patreon, Instagram and Discord server in the description. Subscribe if you're new, as we are trying to hit 250 as soon as possible, which will be great. So yeah, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.